We're back on the little Bakelite Philips radio that I looked at the other day that had the bad tube. We're going to change out the caps. I'm going to sub a tube in and see if this one works. Check it out. This is part 2 for the little Philips radio. We're going to change the caps out in this one, and then I'm going to go find a 50C5 tube from one of my other radios and verify that we've got it running. Going to remove the back and the bottom plate again from it, and then we can continue and replace the failed caps. And for those of you guys that are concerned about the asbestos in the other radio, I know I didn't show it. And sometimes people, if they don't see it done, they don't think it was done. But I did put a coating of Flex Seal, this stuff. I put a coating of Flex Seal on the inside of the cabinet so that the asbestos fibers, if any do come loose, they're not going anywhere. They are basically glued down to the base. Of course, I've also probably ruined the fire protection from it, but that's the whole point in the asbestos being there, was to keep the thing fireproof, right? But again, it's not going to get much in the way of use, so I'm not too concerned about it. On this radio here, I don't think I'm going to bother with these little red buggers. I guess I could, but they're not as big an issue as the paper caps that have to be done. Maybe I will change them. I do have them. I got all of them, so I do have all the caps. I can change them all. But the paper ones, for sure, they have to go. No question there that they all have to be replaced. Just letting my iron warm up, and we'll start with this one right up at the top, this Aerovox. Turn the radio over to make it a little easier to access this one for starters. This first cap down here. Just nip it out and get a new one ready to go. Gotta untie this knot in the line cord. This was a trick that a lot of the shops did back in the day, was they would tie a double knot in the line cord. They would tie one on the inside to stop the cord from pulling through, and then another one on the outside to stop the cord from pushing in. And I just want to get some slack so I can get the line cord out of the way, so I can get that capacitor changed. Okay. This one is a .022. Okay, first cap I just changed. I just put one of these film caps in place. It's the only one I had of the same value. It's a .02, 300 volt. I think the original one was probably a little bit higher rating. It was a, what was it? It was a 400 volt, but we're not going to see that kind of voltage. It's just on the rectifier tube, so a 300 should be more than sufficient. Next capacitor is going to be a tough one to get to. It's kind of buried underneath a bunch of other stuff, so I'm going to have to kind of cut this one out of the way and reattach the wires, but it's hard to see even where it goes because it's buried under some resistors. It looks like it goes down to a ground wire down here. That's what it looks like it goes to. Can't even get to it to cut it. I'll have to relocate some other parts to get in there to cut it off, but it goes to a ground lug. I can see it right down here. I just can't get to it. A little bit of coaxing, I was able to get my cutters in there and cut this one, and we'll just take this one out. Just as much difficulty as getting it cut. To get this cap in, I'm actually having to disconnect stuff to disconnect this coil. This cap has to solder down. I think it goes down, this is going right down to the tuning capacitor, one side of it. So this is in the oscillator circuit, this one. So I'm trying to get this capacitor in the right position so I can solder it down, and then I'll reattach the wire going back to the tuning coil here. But it's a bit of a challenge because I don't have a lot of room to work in here. This is one that's kind of buried down under other components. That one was fun to reattach and get it in a location where it's not going to short out against anything else. So now I can reattach this coil. I think that was probably the hardest one to get to, was that one. We're okay. Nothing's touching and it's connected. So now these other ones will be relatively easy to change out. This one's a ground isolation. It's another 0.22. This is for the external input because this is a hot chassis radio, so the ground side of the RCA plug would normally be connected to the ground of the chassis, which of course, depending on what way the plug was plugged in, could either be connected to hot or connected to neutral. So this is to isolate this terminal through a capacitor, a 0.22. If I was not planning on using the auxiliary input, which I really am not, I could actually omit that capacitor because that's almost a safety hazard right there, just having it there. But if I want to keep the radio original so that the input does work, I'd want to replace that with a 0.022, another one, which is the same as the ones I've already been changing. So I can keep it kind of original, I will put a 0.022 cap in place. It's probably I think it's probably I'm going to use all my 0.022s on this radio because I got one more to change here, and that'll be all my 0.022s. But at least this one can go in here, and they'll maintain the functionality of the auxiliary input, even though it's never going to get used. Okay, that one's out of the way. Just do the same for this one. This one looks like it's melting. Yummy. That cap's shot for sure. It's melting. In order to test this radio, I'll have to grab a tube from one of my other AA5 sets. Which I will. I'll grab a tube from one of my other sets just to verify that everything's working on this one. And then I'll find a replacement tube somewhere. Well, I'm going to have to steal this cap. I need another 0.022, and I don't have one. And this is going to be one for the audio circuit, I think. So that was probably in the tone circuit. So maybe I can get by without that. I probably won't even need that, to tell you the truth. Yeah, I think these ones are the tone in the tone circuit. I think that's what that is. That's tone, because this is the band switch on the other side. This is going to be tone. So I was thinking I might have to steal this one for there, but we'll let it slide. That's another 0.022 because it's in the tone switch, so it's normally would be off. Probably it's got like low, mid, and high tone, I think is how it is. And how the switch works is in the high position nothing's connected, and then when you flick it to the middle it connects this capacitor, and when you flick it to this position it connects both of these caps. So I can probably get away without changing those two. They're not really doing much. The ones that will be changed will be ones like this one here, this 0.01, which is the coupling capacitor. Because if they go electrically leaky, they're going to burn things out. So that one's got to go. I got a new one for it here. Just put it in place of the other one. Twist the wires together and solder it in. Same with this other 0.1 down here. This one will be also changed out. This one can connect right to where this resistor is just because it's connected to the same place. Or I can bring the lead up and just twist it around here for that matter. That one will be changed. That's another one that's in a kind of a critical location. Another 0.01. Okay, let's just plug this thing in. I see some light on the tubes, so maybe this thing is going to work. What do you think? You think this thing's going to work? Now this has got that wonky power switch, but that tube came on initially. Weird. I did measure this thing open with my meter, but I just plugged it in to hell with it to see what would happen, and the damn thing started lighting up. So I wonder if it's just the power switch is bad. We'll just jump for the power switch. See whether any tubes start lighting up again. You heard it. I was recording when this thing came on. And it came on with the original tube. But that when I measured open, like that measured open when I measured it with the meter. And now it worked, and then it went out. So it might be just a connection inside the tube, and it just so happened that it worked for a few minutes, and then it went out. I'll go get another tube. So I'm going to borrow the 50C5. Actually, all the tubes in this are the same. Basically, this is the same radio, or very, very similar. It's an AA5, an All-American 5, and they're all the same. 50C5, even in the same place, right? The chassis look almost identical. If we look at the inside of this one here, 35W4 over here, 35W4 here, right? They're all, I mean, if we look at the chassis, it looks to be the same chassis. I mean, if we look at it, really, the only real difference between the two of these, if we look at the Phillips and the Rogers, is, well, this one does shortwave as well, so it's got a few more coils on it for that. But the placement of the main filter capacitor here versus over here. But this is the tube that we're interested in, the 50C5. So we can just pop the 50C5 into this other one. Power is on, by the way. So as soon as I plug this in, it should start working. If I can get it plugged in. I can see the tubes warming up already. Tubes heating up. Should have sound momentarily. If I turn up the volume, that is. I guess I better change that music. Alright, now I can play this for sure. Auxiliary input for auxiliary sound from the jack on the back. Of course, if I put this dead tube into this radio, obviously it's not going to work. Filament is open, which we can confirm. nothing, right? Just the dial rate lights up on this. And that's because this one uses a 120 volt, 7 watt Christmas tree type lamp for the dial light, whereas this one used a 6 volt that was taken off of the tap off of the 35W4. See, none of my filaments light up on this one now because this tube is dead. Antenna isn't even connected to this. So I can, that switch actually is working. It's just slow. When it clicks on, it takes a while before it actually kicks in. I don't know if it's sticking or what, but I'm going to throw the bottom on this one now, and we'll put the back on it. We'll just listen to see how it receives with the antenna, because right now there's no antenna connected. The antenna is actually part of the back that has to be connected to it. So I will probably leave this 50C5 tube in this radio and just get another one and pop it in the other one. Is likely what I will do. All right. This one's got shortwave on it. I don't think I'll be lucky enough to receive anything, but see if it'll come on. Yeah, just heard the switch click. So we should start to get something on here momentarily.
Wait. Paper Brace, not too bad. Golden Ears Bridge is also pretty A-okay.
Harmonics. Well, it's the noise tonight. Certainly not as sensitive as the RCA, that's for sure. There's a plasma TV running. That's what's causing all that noise.
In any case where the province is not funding,
that's what's going on. The plasmas. Everybody's watching TV. We have a plasma TV here, which of course makes lots of noise. But my neighbors also have them. Everybody's watching TV. The AM band is just annihilated. Let's try the shortwave band. It's not going to pick anything up, I don't think. With no antenna, just some harmonics. I would need an external antenna for sure for shortwave. So it's working. What I'll do is I'll put that tube back in the other radio, just so you can get a comparison of the sensitivity between the two of them. Because that one has a ferrite antenna, this one just has a metal back. Like the metal, this one just has that metal cover that goes around the back, which is probably not a very good antenna. But the other one has a ferrite antenna, which I'm sure is probably a lot better. So let's just put the tube back in the other radio, because we know what it needs. It needs a 50C5, so I'm going to have to source a 50C5. That one's a little bit warm. We'll just carefully pull it out without burning my fingers too badly. It is a little bit warm. Ow, that is hot. As I say, almost the same chassis, but the big difference is the antenna. Since this one's just a medium band only, it's not a shortwave radio, it has a ferrite antenna. And the ferrite antenna is going to be tuned for that AM band. I get the suspicion that both of these came out of the same factory. What do you think? I think both the Philips and the Rogers were both made by Rogers. They just look too much alike for it to be a coincidence. All right, let's plug this other one in. I mean, the shape is a little different, but if we look at the front of them, font is a little different on it. But if we look at the color of the grill, the grill is the same. This one was actually a brown radio. I think someone may have painted this green, because if we look at here, under the green paint, it's brown Bakelite like the other one. So I think this radio probably originally was brown and someone painted it, or it was factory painted green. I don't know, but anyway, power on. Let's just see how this one compares in terms of reception once it warms up. Oh, this one hums a bit too. Filter cap's probably a bit weak on this. Sounds like my capacitor's got dust in it.
I expect we'll see some of that in Ontario now. Although that's going to be limited.
Again, this has got a better antenna, so.
Now, for British Columbia, I believe there's a.
Could address the bigger question of what is it exactly that you think music can do?
For a few years, where do you see the retail cannabis industry headed?
Well, I think we're going to see some more consolidation on the production side. The producers are probably going to grow larger, particularly the ones that are going after what you might call the value segment.
Everything he ever wrote.
Element.
Reports of garbage sitting on the road. So might have been just a garbage truck that went by and lots of garbage fell out. Because it's there and police cruisers and cruiser trucks.
So much better.
When the decision is rendered, I should say, in the next 6 weeks.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the working tube in this radio for now. I'll get another one. I'll get another 50C5. I think maybe the 35W4 might be going a bit weak in this one too, and that's why it's humming a bit. I could have tried that. I could swap the 35W4 over to this one and see if it gets rid of the hum. But I think what I'll do is for now, I'm going to leave the working 50C5 in here, and then I'll pick another one up. We'll get the other one back running again.
Voice.
Only because this one has shortwave, and I want to hook up an antenna to it at night and see what I can pick up. So I'm going to leave the tube in this one for now. To give you an idea how much of a difference that ferrite antenna made, I could probably hook a ferrite antenna up on this, and I'm sure it would work just as well. But watch this.
I'm Brett King, and I'm Jay Rosenthal. Every day we host a peak daily podcast, and you up to speed on here's those travelers.
From that over to the
That shows you.
over to the Alice
All it is a strip of foil that is around the back here that connects. It connects to the back. If we look in the back here, it may not even be connected very well. But if we look in the back, the wire is connected to this foil that runs around the back. And you see this foil here. It's actually connected to a metal plate that goes across the top to form the antenna.
Delta, it's all A-OK right now. Picker Bridge, not too bad. Golden Ears Bridge is also pretty A-OK. And the Mission Bridge also looking pretty wide open. As of right now, both sides of Highway 11 are certainly cooperating.
Oh, the wire broke off. Anyway, that's part of the antenna system. There's a couple of metal tabs on here that connect to this metal plate. There's metal foil that's on the back, and couple an antenna that's on the top of the cabinet. It's like a foil that wraps across the top. Okay, so, and this is a tone control. Listen. So that is a tone control. Sounding great. I would think with an external antenna, this thing's going to perform fantastic.
Tonight, 5 p.m. Posted on CTV News.
Definitely. Probably used to it by now, but just a reminder that there's still a lot of changes there for Highway 1 and the on and off.
Anyway, that does it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll get another tube, get the other one back up and running now that we know what it needs. I put the extra screw in to actually connect the antenna because there's a metal foil copper sheet that goes across the top here, and it connects on both sides. So with only one screw, and it was only connecting to one side of this, and actually putting that second screw in has made an improvement to the built-in antenna. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.